Proper Sex Talk, first video. Introduction. Why I made this video series. Part 1. Introduction. The thing no one talks about, but everyone thinks about. If you're watching this video and feeling a bit awkward, you're not strange at all. You're just like everyone else. What I'm about to talk about is something that might make you blush or look around to see if anyone is eavesdropping, but it's also something that almost everyone has thought about, experienced, or been curious about, yet didn't know who to ask. That thing. Yes, I'll be straightforward. Sex, gender, masturbation, physiological needs, love, instincts. All the things that Vietnamese people often call by tricky names like adult matters, hard to talk about things, that thing, or worse, avoiding it altogether, not naming it, not teaching it, not mentioning it, as if the more silent we are, the more it will disappear. But does it disappear? It's there, inside your body. It sneaks in during sleepless nights. It appears when you see an image that gives you a little feeling. It touches your thoughts whenever you feel lonely, curious, or hurt by an ambiguous relationship. So today, I want you to sit down, not to study, but to open a door with me that society is avoiding. A door called, I want to understand myself, starting from the things kept most hidden. What's next? I will write part 2. Why we know nothing about sex, even though everyone has it. Here is part 2 of the first video script. Why don't we know anything about sex, even though everyone has it? Part 2. Why do we grow up without knowing anything about sex? Have you noticed? We grow up learning so many things, knowing what the area of a trapezoid is, knowing how to distinguish prokaryotic cells from eukaryotic cells, knowing derivative and integral formulas, esterification reactions, circle equations, but no one teaches us how to love without getting hurt, how to understand that our desires are not something to be ashamed of, how to touch our own bodies without feeling guilty, how to have safe, healthy, and responsible sex. When the time comes to do it, we learn nothing. 1. That thing is often taught by silence. Families are silent. Teachers are silent. The people closest to us, who should be the first ones we turn to, look at us like aliens if we accidentally ask a sensitive question. Ask yourself, how many of you have ever asked your mom, Mom, what is masturbation? How many have asked your dad, Dad, does love mean having sex? How many parents have proactively sat down and said to their child, if you feel strange about your body, just tell me. I won't scold you. I won't be embarrassed. I will listen. Almost none. And if there are any, they deserve to be immortalized in the national sex education field. 2. When adults are shy to talk, kids turn to Google. And Google is unfiltered. Do you know what happens? When adults avoid the topic, social media speaks instead. And TikTok, YouTube, adult websites don't teach you that. Sex requires consent. Pleasure doesn't always come from that thing. Desire is not bad. Suppression does not equal morality. Instead, you learn, women exist to satisfy. Men must be strong, enduring, and potent, or else they are impotent. Masturbation is bad. Anyone different, gay, asexual, non-binary, is abnormal. You are taught by memes, anonymous comments, disguised seductive videos. You learn wrong, but you don't know you're learning wrong. 3. Without sex education, we grow up with shame, hurt, and many shocks. You will see yourself in the following, or see your friends. A friend's first sexual experience, and regret so haunting it obsesses them. A man who always feels ashamed because he can't make her climax. A woman who hates her body, avoiding mirrors every day. A couple who have shared a bed for 10 years, but never honestly talked about sex. A young person secretly masturbating, then scolding themselves as dirty, trying to hold back, then unable to, then blaming themselves. All deserve healing, but society only knows how to label and condemn. 4. And so, we pretend to be strong. while still feeling lost in our own bodies. We don't speak. We are shy to ask. We live as if sex is an exception to morality. And then, abuse victims stay silent for fear of being called bad. Masturbators fear being labeled perverted. Those with high needs worry about being called demanding. Asexual people are suspected of being impotent. Each person hides inside a shell. And that shell doesn't help us grow. It suffocates us in loneliness. 5. So, why am I making this video series? Not to change the world. I'm not that grand. I do it because I know the feeling of needing to understand yourself, but no one talks to you about it. I do it so that young people no longer think they are bad for being curious about sex. Adults no longer feel guilty for legitimate needs. Those who are hurt know they are not alone. And if you are watching, you will have at least one place to feel safe, to relearn what should have been taught from the start. Do you think part 2 is okay? If you agree, I will continue writing part 3. Sex education is not taboo. It is the right to understand yourself. Want to continue? Sex education is not a taboo. It is the right to understand yourself. Part 3. Sex education. Not a crime, not a sensitive topic, but a basic right of everyone. Have you ever noticed a paradox? People are willing to teach you how to bandage a wound on your skin, but no one teaches you how to heal the wound inside your heart after an unready sexual encounter. People say, "Don't learn to love too early. Focus on studying. You'll understand those things when you grow up. Sex is only for legally married couples." But they forget to teach how to love without being exploited. Forget to teach how to recognize consent versus coercion. Forget to teach that loving does not mean you have to have sex. Sex education in Vietnam has been turned into a taboo, while in fact, it should be the right to understand yourself. 1. Gender is not just gender, it is a whole world inside you. Gender is not only biological sex, male or female as on your birth certificate. It is how you feel about yourself, how you are emotionally moved, how you understand your needs, both physical and emotional, how you see others, and see yourself. Gender is how you exist as a human being with desires, love, boundaries, and things that cannot be shared by words, but always quietly exist inside. Yet something so profound is reduced to a few clumsy lessons called civic education. 2. Sex education does not make people bad. It helps people live true to themselves. People worry, teaching sex education early will make kids curious and then do bad things. Teaching masturbation is teaching bad behavior, causing social disorder. Talking about sex encourages early sexual activity. But what is the reality? Not talking makes them even more curious, and curiosity in the dark can lead to painful falls. Statistics from countries with comprehensive sex education show the rate of early sexual activity decreases significantly. The rate of unintended pregnancies drops sharply. Teenagers know how to protect themselves, respect each other, and make wiser decisions. The issue is not whether to teach or not, but how to teach, so that people do not live in shame about the most natural part of themselves. 3. Sex education is not about talking about sex. It is about teaching respect and love. Many people think sex education is teaching kids to use condoms. Is it just about how to have sex? That's too inappropriate. No, that's very wrong. Sex education starts with simple things like knowing your own boundaries, knowing how to say no when you are not ready, knowing that everyone has a different body, different needs, and no one is the same, knowing how to listen to your body, and not hate it just because others judge. This is humane education. This is protection, not corruption. 4. Without sex education, we are easily controlled by shame, rumors, and scare tactics. Have you ever heard these sentences? Girls who masturbate are bad. Anyone who says they are gay must have been abused as a child. Loving without allowing touching is hypocrisy. Every man watches porn. Don't pretend otherwise. All those sentences are cultural trash. They are not born from knowledge. They come from lack of education, lack of dialogue, lack of kindness towards each other. Sex education helps us know difference is not wrong, desire is not a sin. Boundaries must be listened to, not forced. Sex is not a certificate of maturity. It is a part of life that needs to be properly understood. 5. I made this video not to save the world, but to speak out something that should have been said long ago. I'm not more talented than anyone else. I'm just someone who once got lost, once craved a decent explanation for the feelings inside me that I didn't know how to name. I want this video to reach young people who dare not ask, adults who have been hurt, children who were scolded just for touching their own bodies, and parents who are struggling, not knowing where to start talking with their children. I'm not making this to lecture. I make it to open the conversation, and hope that from there, you will open your heart. If you find part 3 okay, I will continue writing part 4. Sex is not bad. Only the way we face it makes it distorted. Shall we continue? Sex is not bad. Only the way we face it makes it distorted. Part 4. Sex is not the enemy, but a natural part of every human being. I want you to listen carefully to this. Sex is not bad, not dirty, not sinful. Sex is just sex. It is a biological part, like eating, drinking, sleeping, breathing. It is an emotional part, like love, hate, attraction, hurt. And sometimes it is also a spiritual part, like deep connection, healing, presence. 1. The problem is not sex, but how we are, or are not, allowed to talk about it. Do you know where sex gets bad reputation from? From harsh moralizing sayings like, those who desire are lowly. From movies that use sex as entertainment, mocking its true nature. From families teaching children, never think about that, got it? But the teachers themselves don't really understand themselves. From people confusing sex with depravity, then equating everyone with desire as corrupt. And then we grow up with a silent shame, ashamed for being a normal human with biological needs. 2. Sex becomes a ghost in the mind when we don't dare to name it properly. Think about this. If a child is curious about their body, but instead of guidance, they get punished, what will they learn? If a young person masturbates for the first time, then gets called perverted, what will they carry in their soul? It's not desire that destroys people, but the shame about desire. Shame is what makes people avoid themselves, seek sex in the wrong way, become addicted to sex to cover loneliness, or abstain from sex to prove they are noble, then suppress it until psychological disorders arise. 3. Sex is beautiful if it is linked with consent, understanding, and sincere connection. Contrary to the raw sensational image, real sex, when built right, is extremely humane. It is trust. I let you touch the most sensitive part of me. It is sharing. I don't just undress, but open up my emotions, thoughts, and boundaries. It is connection. No need to be good, no need to act, just be sincere. Nas namit seat. And sex can also not happen. Sex is not an obligation, not a standard of love. You can live happily without sex. But if you have sex, do it with your body, mind, and heart. No rush, no pretending. Not because someone wants it. 4. When we don't understand sex, we are easily pulled into two extreme poles. On one side, don't think about sex. It's what makes society degenerate. Result: repression, tension, self-hatred, contempt for others, or silent explosions in the dark. On the other side, sex is absolute freedom. Do whatever you want, the more the better, to prove you're modern. Result: losing emotions, physical addiction, numbness to connection, turning others into tools. Both are wrong, and both come from misunderstanding. 5. I made this video to say again something everyone thinks they know, but few live by: sex, like fire. Fire warms, fire cooks, But if you don't know how to use it, fire can burn down the whole house. Sex, like wind. Wind fills the sails, but if too strong, or in the wrong direction, it can carry us astray. I'm not here to teach you whether to have sex or not. I just want you to understand yourself, realize your needs are nothing to be ashamed of. And if you love, love truly, healthily, deeply. Do you find part 4 okay? If you're ready, I will continue with part 5. Desire is not bad. Repression does not equal morality. Shall we continue?